Hi, I'm William.
And I'm Kat.
Welcome to our Halloween special.
Ghost stories with info on the go.
Yeah. So we got a good one right here coming up. The Bell Witch.
One of the most chilling and enduring supernatural tales in American history is that of the Bell Witch, a vengeful, malevolent spirit that plagued the Bell family in northern Tennessee beginning in 1817. This eerie entity tormented the family with escalating aggression and is even said to have been responsible for the death of the family's patriarch, John Bell. The Bell Witch legend has captivated generations with its terrifying nature so extreme that even the battle-hardened General Andrew Jackson reportedly fled from the encounter.
The unsettling events began in 1817 when John Bell, a prosperous farmer in Adams, Tennessee, encountered a bizarre creature crouched down in a cornfield. The beast was described as having the body of a dog, but an unusually large head. Alarmed, Bell fired his rifle, but the creature vanished into the shadows. This encounter was only the first of the many strange occurrences that would unfold on the Bell farm.
Shortly after Bell's sighting, one of his sons saw an enormous bird perched on a fence post. Believing it to be an oversized turkey, he aimed his gun, but when the creature took flight, it revealed itself to be far larger than any ordinary bird. These encounters with strange, otherworldly animals, with reports of an ominous black dog appearing frequently around the property.
Soon, these disturbances moved from the fields into the Bell household itself. The family began hearing mysterious noises in the dead of night, knocking, scratching, and chains dragging across the wooden floors. Whenever a lamp was lit to investigate, the noises would stop immediately. The children often complained of their bed covers being yanked off them as they slept, and unseen hands would slap, pinch, leaving behind bruises and scratches.
As the disturbances escalated, the Bell family began to hear an eerie, disembodied voice whispering in the darkness. At first, the voice was unintelligible, but over time, it developed a clear speech pattern and introduced itself as Kate. The entity appeared to take a particular interest in tormenting John Bell and his daughter, Betsy, while at the same time showing a strange fondness for Bell's wife, Lucy, whom it occasionally showered with compliments and even sang to in the evenings.
While some in the community believed the spirit to be a guardian or a protector, others feared its violent tendencies. Kate often berated and cursed at John Bell, expressing a deep hatred for him. It would slap and scratch Betsy, throw objects across the room, and even pull hair. The family's livestock was found dead or mutilated without explanation. Neighbors and visitors who attempted to investigate or challenge the entity were met with physical assaults, their hair pulled, their clothes ripped.
Word of the haunting spread far beyond Adams, Tennessee, and eventually reached the ears of Andrew Jackson, a national hero for his toughness and bravery. Intrigued by the story, Jackson, accompanied by a group of men, traveled to the Bell farm, determined to uncover the truth.
As the group approached the property, their wagon suddenly came to a halt, stuck in a place by an unseen force. No matter how hard the horses were whipped or the wheels pushed, the wagon just would not budge. After some tense moments, a booming, disembodied voice rang out.
You may proceed, General, but I will see you again tonight.
At that instant, the wagon was released, and the men were able to continue on to the Bell residence.
But no, I don't think I'd be going any further either. A
Yeah, no,
disembodied voice in the woods.
yeah,
Especially
no.
in that time, there's no like there's you got torches. Okay.
Well, I mean, something's holding your wagon, and then all of a sudden, after you hear this voice saying, "I'll see you tonight," you can continue on your way. I'd be like, "No, man, you ain't about to see me tonight. I'm going the other way."
That's right. Absolutely. That night, Jackson and his men settled in, ready to confront the entity. And as darkness fell, the Bell Witch made its presence known, rattling chains, throwing objects, and unleashing an unseen force that struck some of the men violently. At one point, a soldier claimed to have brought a silver bullet to kill the spirit, only to find himself thrown across the room by an invisible force. Jackson himself reportedly declared, "I'd rather fight the British again than face the Bell Witch." By morning, the shaken group hastily departed, leaving the Bell family to fend for themselves.
The spirit's malevolence toward John Bell intensified over time, and he began suffering from mysterious ailments. He experienced episodes of swelling in the throat, making it difficult to eat or speak. His health steadily declined, and in December 1820, he was found unresponsive, with a small vial of an unknown dark liquid beside him. His family, suspecting foul play by the entity, fed a few drops of the substance to a stray cat, which died instantly. Moments later, the sinister voice of the Bell Witch rang out, cackling that she had finally killed John Bell.
John Bell's funeral was a well attended affair, but even in death, the Bell Witch did not let him rest peacefully. As mourners gathered, the spirit's eerie laughter echoed through the crowd, and a spectral voice mockingly sang drinking songs throughout the service.
After John Bell's death, the entity's activity gradually diminished, and in 1821 it declared it would leave, promising to return in 7 years. True to its word, reports surfaced that the Bell Witch reappeared briefly in 1828, conversing with John Bell Jr. about the past and future. However, the entity would soon vanish again, vowing to return in another century.
Although the Bell Witch's full presence faded from the Bell Farm, eerie happenings in the area have persisted into modern times. The legend continues to thrive, inspiring countless books, movies, and ghost hunting expeditions. The Bell Witch Cave, located near the original farm, remains a popular destination for paranormal enthusiasts, with many claiming to experience strange sights and sounds within its depths.
So, whether one believes in ghosts or not, the story of the Bell Witch endures as one of America's most infamous hauntings, forever linking the Bell family's tragic tale to the supernatural folklore of Tennessee.
Well, it's kind of funny that Andrew Jackson had to go all the way to the Bell Farm just to see this presence.
Yeah, old Ironsides there decided he wasn't going to stick around.
Yeah, right. He said, "Nah, that I'm good."
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed that story. I thought that one was really good.
Yeah, I
All this rain and thunder we got going on behind us is it kind of adds to it, don't it?
absolutely. I feel like I've seen a movie having to do with the Bell Witch or a documentary or something. It sounded familiar to me.
I know when I was in middle school, I had to read The Bell Witch, which is a little bit more detailed than what we just did, but yeah.
Hmm. Right. So what do we got up next?
All right. Abraham Lincoln, the 16th president of the United States, has long been said to haunt the White House. The first recorded sighting of Lincoln's ghost was the First Lady Grace Coolidge, wife of President Calvin Coolidge. She claimed to have seen Lincoln standing at a window in the Oval Office, gazing out at the Potomac River with a sad expression. Notable American poet and biographer Carl Sandburg also claimed to have sensed Lincoln in a similar manner.
During World War II, both Queen Wilhelmina of the Netherlands and First Lady Eleanor Roosevelt reported seeing Lincoln's ghost in the Lincoln bedroom, which was Lincoln's office during his presidency. Queen Wilhelmina was so startled by the apparition that she admitted to fainting after seeing Lincoln in his top hat. Eleanor Roosevelt, who often used the Lincoln bedroom as her study, also reported feeling Lincoln's presence.
Margaret Truman, daughter of President Harry Truman, frequently heard mysterious tapping sounds in the White House, which she attributed to Lincoln's ghost. These occurrences were so persistent that Harry Truman ordered a renovation of the White House. Susan Ford, daughter of President Gerald Ford, was so frightened by the stories of Lincoln's ghost that she refused to sleep in the Lincoln bedroom.
Maureen Reagan, daughter of President Ronald Reagan, also claimed to have seen Lincoln's ghost in the Lincoln bedroom during her father's administration. Other notable individuals who have reportedly seen or sensed Lincoln's ghost include President Harry Truman himself and his dog, Fala.
Lincoln's ghost has not only been reported within the White House, but also in other locations. In Loudonville, New York, Lincoln's ghost was said to haunt a house owned by a woman who was present at Ford's Theater when Lincoln was assassinated by John Wilkes Booth. In Springfield, Illinois, Lincoln's grave is another site of reported hauntings. Additionally, there have been tales of a phantom train seen on nights in April, retracing the route that the train that held Lincoln's casket from Washington, D.C. to Springfield.
The last documented sighting of Lincoln's ghost occurred in the early 1980s when Tony Savoy, a White House operations foreman, claimed to have seen Lincoln sitting in a chair at the top of a staircase.
The ghostly presence of Lincoln is not limited to the man himself. During President Ulysses S. Grant, a White House maid reported seeing the ghost of Lincoln's young son, Willie, who had died during Lincoln's presidency.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Hi there. My name is Orestes Ponce de Leon, and you are listening to the Cobra Effect podcast. In this show, I cover the unintended consequences of government policies throughout history. We delve into 4,000 years of how even the best intentioned ideas can backfire, leading to revolt, failure, and shocking events. In this episode, we first travel more than 100 years to the city of Delhi in India. The British colonial government decided to eliminate the overpopulation of cobras slithering around and put a bounty on each of them.
These reports and tales of Lincoln's ghost continue to captivate the imagination, adding to the enduring legend of Abraham Lincoln and his lasting impact on American history.
Wow. I've often heard stories about Lincoln's ghost. That just he was a very troubled individual during his presence. I mean, you got to think of all the things he had going on. Like the United States was dividing itself. He was fighting with slavery. I mean, just so much was going on. And all these troops that he sent into battle, he personally took ownership of their lives. So
He was a very influential president and definitely marked a turning point for the American history, trying to fight slavery and abolish slavery, really.
yeah, I mean, like I said, I know from what I've studied about him, he really took every soldier's death personally.
Ah, it's always nice to hear.
Yeah. So, Kat, what do we have up next?
Fort Jackson in Savannah. The night was still, the humid air of Savannah pressing down like a heavy blanket. And if you've ever been to Savannah or the South and you know humidity, that's definitely a heavy, wet blanket.
Don't make me laugh. We're trying to tell ghost stories here.
The fort, its weathered stone walls steeped in history, loomed under the moon's pale glow. Most visitors had long since departed, leaving only the faint rustle of the wind and the occasional creak of wooden beams settling in the cool night air.
Inside, a lone employee made his rounds, flashlight in hand, the beam flickering against the aged brick corridors. He had worked at the fort for years, growing familiar with its every nook and cranny. Yet no matter how much time passed, the unsettling stories of ghostly encounters never quite left his mind.
As he neared the old barracks, a sudden sound stopped him in his tracks. Footsteps.
At first, they were faint, as if someone was pacing just behind his line of sight. His breath hitched. The fort was empty, or at least it should have been. He turned his flashlight, sweeping across the passage, but nothing was there. The footsteps continued, slow and deliberate, the measured tread of a soldier on parole. Hello, he called, his voice barely above a whisper.
Silence. Then the steps resumed, closer this time. His heart pounded as he backed away, straining to see the source of the sound. There was no mistaking it now. Heavy boots scraped against the stone floor, marching an invisible path.
A chill ran down his spine. He had heard the stories before of the spirits of long dead soldiers still guarding the fort, bound by duty even in death. Some claimed they had seen shadowy figures standing along the battlements. Others swore they had heard muffled voices in the darkness, but nothing compared to experiencing it firsthand.
Summoning his courage, he stepped forward, the echo of his own movement blending with the phantom steps. The air felt charged, thick with an energy he couldn't explain. Then, just as suddenly as they had begun, the footsteps stopped.
The silence that followed was almost more unnerving than the sound itself. He lingered a moment longer, listening, waiting, but the fort had returned to its eerie stillness.
Shaken, but unwilling to admit fear, he finished his rounds and locked up for the night. As he left, he glanced back at the old stone walls, wondering if the spirits of the past had watched him just as closely as he had listened for them.
The next morning, he hesitated before mentioning the experience to his coworkers. But before he could even speak, one of them smirked knowingly. You heard them, didn't you?
He nodded slowly.
Don't worry.
The other man said with a chuckle. They're just doing their job.
Oh wow, that was kind of intense too, wasn't it?
It was chilly.
Yeah,
Definitely chilly.
that was chilly. I think so far I feel like we're doing a pretty good job here on our Halloween special. What do you think?
I'm definitely having fun with it, that's for sure.
Yeah, for sure. And I think this last piece is gonna be something amazing. Uh, at least it is for me. I don't know about anybody else.
Look, I am a big Edgar Allan Poe fan, okay? You
I,
will not go wrong anytime with The Raven.
nope. And so we're gonna do the Raven. Once upon a midnight dreary, while I pondered, weak and weary, over many a quaint and curious volume of forgotten lore, while I nodded, nearly napping, suddenly there came a tapping, as if someone gently rapping at my chamber door. "'Tis some visitor," I muttered, "tapping at my chamber door. Only this, and nothing more."
Ah, distinctly I remember it was in the bleak December, and each separate dying ember wrought its ghost upon the floor. Eagerly I wished the morrow, vainly I had sought to borrow from my books surcease of sorrow, sorrow for the lost Lenore, for the rare and radiant maiden whom the angels name Lenore, nameless here forevermore.
And the silken, sad, uncertain rustling of each purple curtain thrilled me, filled me with fantastic terrors never felt before, so that now, to the still, the beating of my heart, I stood repeating, "'Tis some visitor entreating entrance at my chamber door, some late visitor entreating entrance at my chamber door. This it is, and nothing more."
Presently my soul grew stronger, hesitating then no longer. Sir, said I, or madam, truly your forgiveness I implore. But the fact is, I was napping, and so gently you came rapping, and so faintly you came tapping, tapping at my chamber door, that I scarce was sure I heard you. Here I opened wide the door. Darkness there, and nothing more.
Deep into that darkness, peering, long I stood there wondering, fearing, doubting, dreaming dreams no mortal ever dared to dream before. But the silence was unbroken, and the stillness gave no token, and the only word there spoken was the whispered word, Lenore. This I whispered, and in echo muttered back the word, Lenore, merely this and nothing more.
Back into the chamber turning, all my soul within me burning. Soon again I heard a tapping, somewhat louder than before. Surely, said I, surely that is something at my window lattice. Let me see, then, what thereat is, and this mystery explore. Let my heart be still a moment, and this mystery explore. 'Tis the wind, and nothing more.
Open here I flung the shutter, when, with many a flirt and flutter, in there stepped a stately raven of the saintly days of yore. Not the least obeisance made he, not a minute stopped or stayed he, but, with mine of lord or lady, perched above my chamber door, perched upon a bust of Pallas, just above my chamber door, perched and set, and nothing more.
Then this ebony bird beguiling my sad fancy into smiling, by the grave and stern decorum of the countenance it wore. Though thy crest be shorn and shaven thou, I said, art sure no craven, ghastly grim and ancient raven wandering from the nightly shore. Tell me what thy lordly name is on the night's Plutonian shore. Quoth the raven, nevermore.
Much I marveled this ungainly fowl to hear discourse so plainly, though its answer little meaning, little relevancy bore. For we cannot help agreeing that no living human being ever yet was blessed with seeing a bird above his chamber door, bird or beast upon the sculptured bust above his chamber door, with such a name as Nevermore.
But the raven, sitting lonely on the placid bust, spoke only that one word, as if his soul in that one word he did outpour. Nothing further than he uttered, not a feather than he fluttered, till I scarcely more than muttered, other friends have flown before. On the morrow he will leave me, as my hopes have flown before. Then the bird said, nevermore.
Startled at the stillness broken by reply so aptly spoken, doubtless said I, what it utters is its only stock in store, caught from some unhappy master whom unmerciful disaster followed fast and followed faster till his songs one burden bore, till the dirges of his hope that melancholy burden bore of nevermore.
But the raven still beguiling all my fancy into smiling, straight I wheeled and cushioned seat in front of bird and bust and door. Then upon the velvet sinking, I betook myself to linking fancy unto fancy, thinking what this ominous bird of yore, what this grim, ungainly, ghastly, gaunt, and ominous bird of yore meant in croaking, nevermore.
This I said engaged in guessing, but no syllable expressing. To the fowl whose fiery eyes now burned into my bosom's core, 'tis and more I set divining, with my head at ease reclining on this cushion's velvet lining that the lamp lit gloated o'er, but whose velvet violet lining with the lamplight gloating o'er she shall press, ah, nevermore.
Then methought the air grew denser, perfumed from an unseen censer, swung by seraphim whose footfalls tinkled on the tufted floor. Wretch, I cried, thy God hath lent thee, by these angels he hath sent thee, respite, respite and nepenthe from thy memories of Lenore. Quaff, oh quaff this kind nepenthe and forget this lost Lenore. Quoth the raven, nevermore.
Prophet, said I, thing of evil, prophet still, if bird or devil, whether tempter sent or whether tempest tossed thee here ashore, desolate yet all undaunted, on this desert land enchanted, on this home by horror haunted, tell me truly, I implore, is there, is there balm in Gilead? Tell me, I implore, quoth the raven, nevermore.
Prophet, said I, thing of evil, prophet still if bird or devil, by the heaven that bends above us, by that God we both adore. Tell the soul with sorrow laden, if within the distant Aidenn it shall clasp a sainted maiden, whom the angels name Lenore. Clasp a rare and radiant maiden, whom the angels name Lenore. Quoth the raven, nevermore.
Be that word our sign of parting. Bird or fiend, I shrieked, upstarting. Get thee back into the tempest and the night's plutonium shore. Leave no black plume as a token of that lie thy soul hath spoken. Leave my loneliness unbroken. Quit the bust above my door. Take thy beak from out my heart, and take thy form from off my door. Quoth the raven, nevermore.
And the raven, never flitting, still is sitting, on the pallid bust of Pallas just above my chamber door, and his eyes have all the seeming of a demon's that is dreaming, and the lamplight o'er him streaming throws his shadow on the floor, and my soul from out that shadow that lies floating on the floor shall be lifted nevermore.
Kat, this was amazing. I think, I know you picked the Raven. I think I picked the Bell Witch, and I think the Lincoln thing just kind of a little factoid, it kind of stuffed in between the two.
Ghost stories.
Yeah.
Ghost
Um,
stories from mid to ancient English to, well, I wouldn't say ancient. Edgar Allan Poe isn't ancient English. It's old English, but not ancient. Um, the Bell Witch was probably from about that time too.
Hey, Kat, let's take a moment and thank our listeners for joining us. If you really like our show, we would really appreciate it if you just gave us a review and told a friend.
And let us know if you like it, if you hate it. We would like to hear some feedback.
Yeah, check out you can email us at infoonthegopodcast@gmail.com.
Yes, that's all one word.
All right. Happy Halloween, everybody.
Happy Halloween.